Ahoy there folks, I'm Captain Benzie and welcome to another video for Eve Echoes. Now today's video is going to be something a little bit different. It's something that has been heavily requested on Discord through YouTube. Numerous people have requested this. It's something I'm keen to try, but well, we'll see how this goes, right? Ultimately, what I'm going to do today is go through the suggestions channel on the Eve Echoes official Discord. For those who don't know, it's a channel where you can post your own suggestions as to what you would like to see added or changed in the game, and other people can vote on it. Now, obviously, it getting tons of votes doesn't mean it's going to happen. It just gives the devs an indication of what the community is looking for. Now, I've stated before that this community can be its own worst enemy, so yeah, be prepared. There might be some interesting, in inverted commas, suggestions for us to go through. Now, I hope Ragey Benzie doesn't come out too much during this one. I don't want to be attacking individual players on this, just challenging the ideas and concepts they come up with. Of course, this is all going to be based on my own personal opinions and views as well. You will have your own personal views and opinions. I would love to hear those in the comment section down below. Let me know, and of course, while you're heading down there to type those comments, hit that like button. It really does help, and if you want to keep this channel doing what it does, well, I've got a Redbubble merchandise store that you can buy some exclusive swag, and I've got a Patreon page that you can pledge to support there. Anyway, with all that said and done then, let's jump straight into the Eve Echoes community Discord suggestion channel. Now remember, I am merely challenging the ideas, not attacking the individual players. So let's have a look. So first one we have here, I need to move my microphone so that I can get a little bit closer to the screen here. My eyesight's not apparently what it used to be. So Soju7714, allow us to click on items we currently have listed in My Orders tab to see its current sell buy price on the market. Would be huge quality of life improvement for the marketplace so we can quickly make adjustments to our sell or buy orders. Making quick adjustments to sell or buy orders is not necessarily a good thing. Ultimately, quick adjustments to like stock trading and that is kind of what caused the 2008 financial crash, if you kind of, break it down to its simplest terms. Ultimately, click the items you have currently listed in My Orders to see the current sell. Yeah, I would be okay with that. I think the reasoning behind it's not great, but I do think that actually seeing the stuff there, oh, the interaction failed. This is going to be wonderful, isn't it? Basically, yeah, there could be some interesting stuff there. I like quality of life changes. Now, Nova says, Noctis needs more cargo hold. Yes, it absolutely does, and it's going to fail again on here, isn't it? But ultimately, absolutely agree with that one. The Noctis needs a considerably larger hold. Ultimately, it needs to be just smaller than the other haulers at tech level 6. I think you get the haulers at tech level 6, like the Mammoth and stuff like that. Either way, the Noctis shouldn't really be as good as a hauler for hauling, but if it is, oh well, that's kind of the problem with the tech level system. It just needs a bigger hold, because that thing fills up ridiculously quickly. Absolutely, I agree with that. Exclamation mark RL, Kuzi Al-Nizami, I've butchered that name. I suggest the players in the game can control the basic personality and land on the planets and everything he can do as a person and so on. No, I would be downvoting that one. It's important that a game has a concept and it sticks to that concept. Ultimately, if you want a game like this, play No Man's Sky or obviously Starfield when that comes out, although, yeah, I'm not overly excited about that one. Spoiler alert, maybe I'll do a video on that at some point. But play a game like No Man's Sky. For Eve Echoes, that is beyond the scope of the game, and a game should never try to be absolutely everything. A game should have a clear intent of what it wants to be. I think ultimately we had Dust 514, which was a PlayStation 3 game, first-person shooter that actually hooked into the Eve Online universe, and like the Scars of Caldari Prime, people were actually fighting in Dust 514 on the surface of Caldari Prime, whilst a massive battle was going on in space, and the two were actually linked, which was awesome. I just don't think that should be in the same game, because that's eating resources and kind of diluting your design intent. Up to Boy Joker, tier 10 Noctis with a 15,000 cubic meter base cargo hold. That's it, could even have some same stats. Here I would actually downvote this one. I think having the one Noctis at tier 8 is enough. I think having the Noctis have a bigger cargo hold is a good idea. Would I have it 15,000 cubic meters, then add on the Noctis bonuses? No, I think that's probably too big. But ultimately, it should be smaller than a Tech 10 hauler. It should be probably, I think I've said before, the Noctis should be about equal to a Tech 6 hauler, and then just have that sort of, that bonus that makes it a little bit larger. Please, Logster says, please add option to union multiple lists. I'm assuming they mean to blend multiple lists together. I'm a kind of two minds about this one. That's an interesting topic. The lists feature, of course, is fairly new, and I think a lot of us are getting used to it still. But this particular one, I think that's a quality of life change that doesn't really need to happen. You can blend lists already. You can make two lists and then put those lists together into one big list. So I don't think you need to be able to kind of just multiple all together in one go. Just add one at a time. Logster again, please add possibility to post missing material lists on corporate market purchase. Yeah, that would be cool to sit there and say, right, okay, I've got everything I need on this list except for XYZ. Let me press one button and create a buy order in the corporation market. That would be amazing. All for that kind of stuff. Gabriel Rossi, G. Rossi says, killboard external. Wow, that's a really deep suggestion there. I'm just going to say now, and this isn't an attack here on Gabriel Rossi, I think it's just something that does absolutely need to be stated. The developers of this game are Chinese, right? They are based in Guangzhou, in China. They are not native English speakers. English is the second language for the majority of the team that we have a front with, but not all of them, and they are not necessarily comfortable. Also, Google Translate is ultimately what they're going to be using to translate most of this kind of stuff, and you kind of need to give some detail and some nuance rather than just kind of this thing, because it's easy to misunderstand some of those. I think killboard external is, I know what you mean, you know what you mean, I think most of us know what you mean, and if I'm being charitable, I genuinely think the devs know what you mean as well. But when putting a suggestion like this in the channel, I think we do need to, like, I've noticed this during the dev AMA, the Discord AMA, the people who actually give a bit of background to their question tend to get a proper answer, whereas the ones who just give a short, sharp question get sort of a misunderstanding answer. Be clear. So here, an external killboard. Now, I kind of like this. I like the Z killboard in EVE Online just as much as I dislike the Z killboard in EVE Online. There's a lot of abuse that it can have, and I genuinely like the fact that the developers of EVE Echoes are kind of putting these tools in the game. I don't think you need to have it external to the game. I think having a internal killboard is good enough, and it means we don't need to have a full public API that is, again, abusable unless it is done very, very carefully. What we forget about EVE Online is that the API has been modified numerous times because there have been some quite big controversies with that API where API abuse was, part of the situation, and I think that would be really dangerous for Echoes. So I think having an internal killboard in the game would be really, really cool. I don't think you need to have the ability to, scroll out of the app and, find it elsewhere. I think having it in-game would be fine. Now, Barnacles UK, awesome name, allow players when a ping is sent for located here to warp to the player who sent the ping, not the center of the anomaly. Currently, you have to warp twice to reach the intended location. Now, again, I would downvote this one. I think the fact that it takes you to their anomaly is enough. Having it go actually to 0, this is one of the downsides of being a sniper build. If you are a sniper build in an anomaly, chances are you're fairly glass cannon to begin with. You're going to have weapons that struggle to hit things like interceptors. This is part of the parcel, it's part of the balancing of it. Yes, okay, if you go for a brawling fit, you're more likely to be taking damage, and then if someone jumps into your anomaly, that is an extra ship that you've got to deal with on top of all the other ones that are already hitting you, whereas if you're in a sniping position, well, yeah, you kind of can deal with, if someone jumps in and then warps to your position, you've only got to deal with them. The NPCs are probably still out of range and stuff like that. It's part of the internal balance between a brawler and a sniper. I don't think that needs to be changed, especially since, as he points out in this exact suggestion, you have to warp twice. So, oh no, you warp into the situation and then you have to target and warp again. Oh well, I think that is a fine situation as it currently is. I think it works perfectly as it is. This feels... If I'm being charitable, it feels like people just wanting the game to play itself. If I'm being unkind, man, that's not being charitable, that's being unkind. I think if I'm being charitable, it's just people wanting to clip off one button press. I like the fact that you kind of have to come in at 0 and then analyze the situation. Heck, if you're in a sniper build, trying to save someone, then coming in at 0 while they're sitting at 120 Ks away is a good thing, right? So it plays both ways. Anyway, I think that having to press one extra button isn't really a problem. Criticosk 8. Please make our own corporation orders in market window be highlighted in blue-green so it's easier to relist them and not requiring us to go back one window to check if our order is indeed higher or lower. This one hasn't actually made it into the suggestions, but that would be getting a downvote for me. Again, I think it's important that you can't just micromanage. This is why when it comes to the market, you actually have a cost to place stuff on the market that is not refunded if you yourself cancel it or if it expires. It's to stop you doing that whole micromanaging of, oh, someone's put it cheaper, let me cancel and put it up again. Oh, they've made it cheaper again, let me cancel. It keeps you actually sort of having to commit to a price. That is an important thing and it needs to stay. Remove drones from non-drone focused chips to reduce lag during large PvP encounters. Now this has a lot of upvotes, but even more downvotes, and this is actually a really complex issue that we were talking about on the Catskull Discord a couple of days back. Ultimately, yes, I kind of get where you're coming from here, that non-drone focused chips don't necessarily need those drone slots. I think you can say to people, oh, in our doctrine, we don't allow drones anyway, but then you're kind of relying on your opponent to do the same and relying on the players to come up with a solution to ultimately a game development problem. I don't like that. Ultimately, that said, I don't think it's necessarily the right idea to just remove drones from all the non-drone focused chips, because they can be really useful. Look, okay, so I have, on Benzi, I have both small, medium, and large missiles, and I have small and medium drone skills. This means that actually when I go into something like, say, just for example, the Bellicose, or some other cruiser like that I'm, want to fly that with, heck, my Caracal 2 would be another example. When I'm flying my Caracal 2, the drone itself, because I've got so many drone skills, is actually not bad. It can be fairly useful for taking out smaller targets and dealing extra damage. So there are uses for this kind of stuff. I think ultimately the developers have done the right thing by adding anti-drone pulse bombs. They are still on the way, just remember they wanted to fix drone AI before adding the ADPBs. ADPBs as well, they've done the incredible thing of actually nerfing drones without even existing. Like, a lot of alliances have cancelled their drone doctrines just because they know that these modules are going to be coming at some point in the future. So we've stopped using drones just for the threat of an anti-drone module being there, which is a really clever way of balancing it. Obviously, we do still need to get those ADPBs, or people are just going to go, oh, it looks like they're never coming, and we're going to go right back to drone doctrine. But ultimately, I'm in two minds. The more I think about this, the more I'm in two minds. Because equally, whilst for me, it's really nice having those drones on things that I can do that little bit extra with, at the same token, it doesn't really matter. Like, it's... Even if I'm in my Macariel, even with, well, back in the days when I had my Typhoon, even when I'm flying my Typhoon 2 and I've got full medium drone skills, that medium drone is still only doing, 27, 37 DPS. It's really not much. So I'd kind of be for them actually taking those off most non-drone ships. I don't know, maybe you disagree. That's one for the comment section, definitely. Allow Guardians access to use either shield or armor links. Bonuses will ultimately favour the respective ship's bonus, but at least gives Guardian pilots more playstyles. You can have playstyles by having different ships. I'm really on the downvote squad on this one. My initial thought was, actually, that's kind of cool. Yeah, that you could swap between the two. No, and the more I think about it, no. Ultimately, this is like saying that, oh, we should be able to have, every single ship should be able to just have turret bonuses. So the Omen, the Stabber, they have just bonuses to turrets, because I think it's only fair that actually the Stabber should be allowed to use lasers as well, because it gives them more opportunity to choose what they're doing. I would like to be able to fit my mower with cannons, because I think, I enjoy cannons, but I prefer the mower to the Rupture. No, the entire point here is that you do have options as a Guardian. You just have to train the right things. Like, if you're training into cruisers, As an example, if you're training into cruisers and you're flying, say, the Rupture Guardian and the Moa Guardian, you've got both of those available to you. It's not difficult. It's really not that much skill point investment to also add in the armor tanking skills, at which point you can now also fly the Mala and the Thorax. If you're flying the Moa, you can really fly the Thorax if all you do is add the armor skills. Yeah, okay, if you want to fly the Rupture or the Mala, and you aren't skilled into those normally, then yeah, you do kind of have to train the laser or cannon skills and stuff like that. But I notice he's not asking about that. He's not asking, oh, can we train, like, have the ability to use these with you know, without different weapon skills? Because notably, those don't get bonuses from it. I've just done a load of videos on things like the Rupture, the Mala, the Thorax, and the Moa, and you'll notice they don't get bonuses from, like, medium railgun operation. They get it from shield operation and cruiser command, because they're designed around this intent anyway. That if you're training shield operation and armor operation, and you've got cruiser command 5, so if you have cruiser command 5, if you have shield operation 5, and you have armor operation 5, you can fly all 4 of those ships really, really well. Obviously, if you then train into medium weapon operation and medium weapon upgrade for the particular weapons, you'll do better, but they get their bonuses primarily from shield and armor. So, no, I think it's easy enough already to just add in the armor tanking skills and easily swap across. If you're a Guardian, your damage doesn't really matter, so if you're, for example, flying a Hurricane Guardian usually, and someone says, oh, we need an Armor Guardian, and you've got the armor tanking skills, so you swap to the Harbinger Guardian, but oh, I don't have any laser skills, no one's going to care. You've got the armor skills, you're a Guardian, that's what matters. El Apache, give us a to-buy list so I know what modules I have to buy for equip my ships. I can put them there when I go to market, I can buy them. They've done this. This was put up yesterday at 5:35. That is literally what the list function is. Yeah. Give us J-Space, Wormhole Sleepers, and put Sisters of Eve debris there, then bring in Tech 3 strategic cruisers with materials for them in wormhole sites. Oh yes, let's just click our fingers and make this super easy. Now look, I live in wormholes in EVE Online. My base of operations is Thera. I love the fact that I can wake up every morning with a whole load of new connections. I've done a video on my life as a space nomad in EVE Online. I am still currently against wormholes being added to EVE Echoes because ultimately we are already spread very thinly across the space we have. Same reason that I'm against them opening the drone regions yet, because you're just going to take what thinly spread community we have and spread it across an even wider area. It's going to be, rather than having to make 40 jumps to get to the nearest conflict, you're going to have to make 60 jumps. Now, wormholes do kind of solve that if you have the whole ability to go from K-space into J-space and then back into K-space, or just even the K-space connecting wormholes and stuff like that, jumping from, say, Fountain straight into Innsmother, for example. That said, I wouldn't be against, but we've already basically got that. Why don't we open up Nihilist Dead Space? Why can you not go into the other private section of a Nihilist Dead Space? I genuinely was really excited when they announced Nihilist Dead Space because it meant that when one of these opened, you could jump in from Innsmother, have a Nihilist Dead Space in there, and other people could be coming in from other places as well. Then you could jump out the other side and be in Fountain, or Delve, or Venal, or wherever, and that was really cool. I don't think you need to put the Sisters of Eve debris into wormholes. For starters, I think that is fine with it being part of faction wargames, for the simple fact that faction wargames needs to be a money, people who play for faction wargames need a way to make money, and the Mordu's Legion and Sisters of Eve debris is the main way of doing that. Sleepers we've had in the game already, they were part of the Verge of Silence event, and I kind of get the sneaky suspicion that the next wave of content would include Sleepers and possibly sort of pseudo-wormholes, maybe Nihilist Dead Space, with Sleepers in them, our version of Abyssal Dead Space. That could be really cool. I don't know, but ultimately, at this point in time, wormholes don't add nearly as much as I think people want them to, and I think they would actually end up proving damaging to the game overall. Not to mention, on top of that, that simply put, I think a lot of people fantasize about wormholes, but then look at how many people were constantly complaining about the local list being broken. The fact that the local list doesn't exist in wormholes, I think a lot of people just would never enter them and wouldn't be willing to risk it. Your casual player base aren't going to touch them, and your sort of more hardcore base are just going to drain out of nullsec into J-space. I think there's a lot more stuff that needs to happen. Yeah, I would love the Tech 3 strategic cruisers and the Tech 3 destroyers. Obviously, in EVE Online, those are built using materials only found in wormholes, but even then, there's other stuff we need first. As much as I would love to have my Tengu or Loki here in EVE Echoes, there's stuff we need first. I really think we need the Unjung. I really think we need an analog to Abyssal Dead Spaces. I really think that we need all of those other ships that I've mentioned so many times in other videos. Even things like the proper fixes for marketeering, the mini-games for exploration, that kind of thing, for hacking that is. Anyway folks, that brings us coming up to 20 minutes of video time right now. I'm going to wrap this up right here. This has been interesting actually, and I'd be all for doing some more of this if you folks are keen. If you think this was interesting and informative, sort of getting my opinions on suggestions. Obviously, it's worth heading through to the suggestion channel yourself on the official EVE Echoes Discord. I'll put a link to that Discord in the description down below in case you're not already part of it. You really should be, if only for the announcements and stuff. But head through to that suggestions channel, make your own suggestions, and see what people are suggesting. Vote, get in there and have your say. Anyway, folks, let me know your thoughts and opinions. Crikey, my cat just fell off a box. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on what you think of these suggestions. Do you agree with me? Do you agree with the players? What kind of things would you like to see come in EVE Echoes in the future? Let's have that conversation in the comment section down below. Remembering, every week I give one of my commenters on YouTube a month of Combo Mega. And join me on Discord as well. The Catskull Discord has public channels, and 2 people every week are selected from those public channels to earn a month of Combo Mega each as well there. Anyway, that's been the community channel suggestions video thing that you've been requesting for a while, folks. Hope you've enjoyed it. Give me some feedback in the comment section down below. Otherwise, happy sailing, and see you in New Eden.